I've been thinking about this Wayne stuff. Some niggas been hitting me like, ignore it, fly over it, don't even talk about it. But that's not like who I am or how I am. When I got an issue, I'd rather over communicate on how I feel and how it make me feel. I don't even like want the energy of niggas debating Wayne's legacy to be around me. This is really a war of perspectives. I meant no malice. Like, nigga, I love Lil Wayne. I would never diss that nigga legacy. Like, that nigga mean too much to me, right? But that's me living in me. Like, I know when I said it, I meant that. But perspective is key because how it's received don't always be how you sent it. If you offend a nigga, you have no jurisdiction or right to be like, well, I didn't mean that, so you can't be offended. The punch landed on me, and I'm offended, you know, and I respect that, and I empathize for that, because if I was on the other end, I could see how one could take it as such. I don't even want niggas taking my side. My personal opinion of my experience wasn't to be taken as the world's experience, but that's a flaw in me, because I could have used better words to explain what I was trying to say. The ego in me is always like, nigga, I'm not gonna apologize for some shit I went wrong. Nigga, I went wrong. You feel me? But the human in me that's growing is like, nigga, it don't matter if you feel like you was wrong. Someone was offended by your actions. And that's what warrants an apology. So Wayne, if this reached your life in any way, I truly apologize. If that's not my intention at all, nigga. I love you. And I honor what you do in your legacy. If it didn't reach you, thank God. Cause this some bullshit. These niggas on social media on some bullshit. And you know what's crazy? I ain't no sellout. I ain't in the Illuminati. I still live in my community. I just came from my mama crib. If anything, I'm a nigga you should celebrate a champion. I made it from my backyard. That's myself. With integrity. I take care of my children. You feel me? I'm doing nothing but outputting good into the world where I could. I'm not a nigga you gotta call out his name. Nigga, but I get it. Niggas like, nigga, what you said wasn't necessary. And I empathize on that. I get all the uproar, but like I truly meant no malice. Wayne, come to the backyard. Or you could be like, nigga, fuck you. Nigga, after all that. And I accept that too. I accept both of those. But nigga, I love you. And we would love to have you in the backyard with a choir and a band and do something special. All my legends mean something to me. And I would love that. But I also understand it was like, nigga, fuck you too. I get both. I feel it. But real nigga out. We done. White flag, nigga. This shit. I don't want niggas online debating. But what could be cool though is a nigga seeing the influx of streams in his catalog. And I think that's a beautiful thing that niggas rallied around like, nah, nigga, we ain't disrespecting Wayne. Because I fucking agree. I wouldn't be the rapper I am today without him. So I don't even mind being on the other end of this if the result is niggas realizing how special Wayne was and what he contributed to this shit. And some niggas gonna see this video and be like, nah, nigga, fuck you, stand on what you saying. It's like, alright. Helmet, you know, and it's all good. I have nothing but love. I don't have no malice in my heart. Like, I hate that this moment even made me like feel like it activated my ego where I felt like I had to defend myself through my skill. And it's like, I never want my life to be me versus Wayne, me versus none of that. You know, I really didn't think I was this impactful, honestly.
At this point, it's starting to look like LaRussell is finally coming into his senses after that wave of backlash he received for his comments regarding Lil Wayne. Because let's be real, the hip-hop fan base did not take that lightly at all. When you're speaking on somebody who is widely considered to be one of the most influential artists of an entire generation, especially somebody whose run impacted everything from mixtape culture, punchline rap, autotune acceptance, metaphors, and even the way younger artists structure their flows today, you're stepping into dangerous territory, whether you intended to or not. And while I can respect the fact that LaRussell came back around and took some level of accountability for what he said publicly, the timing of it makes it feel a bit more reactionary than reflective. Because in all honesty, if the fans never applied that type of pressure, if social media wasn't cooking him in real time, would he have doubled back at all? Or would he have stood firmly on his original stance that Wayne's legacy lacks substance and that he simply gets on tracks and says anything? That's a heavy critique to place on somebody whose catalog helped shape the sonic direction of modern hip-hop. And the reality of the situation is this. When you publicly question the cultural impact of an artist as beloved as Lil Wayne, you're not just offering an opinion. you're potentially jeopardizing relationships, future collaborations, festival bookings, label politics, brand alignments, and industry goodwill. That's not just internet discourse at that point. That's business. Especially for somebody like LaRussell, who's been building his movement independently out of Vallejo, which is right in our backyard, and something you know matters to platforms like Inyo Business TV that highlight Bay Area narratives. Every opportunity counts. One miscalculated statement about the wrong legacy figure can quietly close doors that were never even announced publicly. That one podcast clip or interview soundbite can circulate through A&Rs, promoters, managers, and collaborators who may now view you as someone willing to publicly diminish icons of the culture. And whether that's fair or unfair is irrelevant. Perception is currency in this industry. Now, what makes this even more complicated is the fact that once you say something that bold, there really isn't a clean way to walk it back without it looking forced. Standing on your opinion may upset people, but retracting it after backlash can sometimes come across as damage control instead of genuine reconsideration. And fans picked up on that immediately. A lot of people began questioning whether LaRussell was even in a position to critique Wayne's legacy in the first place. Not necessarily as an attack on his artistry, but from the standpoint of historical proximity and cultural reach. Because legacy conversations in hip-hop tend to carry a certain weight, and when you enter that discussion, you're expected to understand not just the music, but the era, the influence, and the ripple effects that artists had on those who came after them. And this brings us to a bigger lesson that extends beyond just this situation. Sometimes silence is strategic. In an era where every microphone is live, every camera is rolling, and every clip can become a viral headline within minutes, not every question requires an answer. Not every prompt deserves an opinion. There's power in pausing. There's value in saying, I'd rather not speak on that. Because once words leave your mouth, especially in a recorded setting, they no longer belong to you. They belong to the timeline, the algorithm, the blogs, and the comment section. We've seen time and time again how artists, influencers, and commentators end up creating avoidable controversy simply because they felt obligated to respond in the moment instead of thinking about the long-term implications. And in a business where reputation can directly affect revenue streams, touring opportunities, partnerships, and brand equity, exercising restraint can be just as important as exercising free speech. Knowing when to speak is important, but knowing when not to can save your career from unnecessary turbulence. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with having an opinion. But in this industry, the way you communicate that opinion, and whether it needs to be communicated publicly at all, can determine whether doors open for you or quietly close without explanation. Moving forward, this situation can serve as a professional learning experience not just for LaRussell, but for any emerging artist, media personality, or content creator navigating the modern hip-hop ecosystem. The first step is understanding that legacy conversations, especially when they involve someone like Lil Wayne, are rarely received as neutral critiques. They are interpreted as cultural positions. So before offering commentary on a figure whose influence spans multiple generations, it's important to evaluate whether that opinion adds value to the conversation or simply introduces unnecessary friction that can ripple into your professional relationships. From a brand management standpoint, implementing a pause protocol before responding to sensitive or polarizing questions can be extremely effective. That simply means taking a moment in interviews or live discussions to assess, is this commentary aligned with my long-term goals? Does answering this benefit my brand, movement, or team? Could this be clipped and reframed in a way that damages future opportunities? If the answer is uncertain, it's perfectly acceptable to pivot, defer, or respectfully decline to engage. Silence, in many cases, is not weakness, it's strategic restraint. Additionally, artists should consider developing internal media guidelines for themselves and their camp. Not everything that's thought needs to be verbalized publicly, especially in an era where algorithms amplify controversy faster than accomplishments. By maintaining message discipline and focusing public dialogue on music, community impact, and forward-moving initiatives, creators can protect their reputational capital while still engaging authentically with fans. Lastly, if a misstep does occur, it's more effective to either stand firmly on your perspective and provide deeper context, or offer a measured clarification that explains your intent without appearing reactionary to backlash. Consistency in messaging builds trust, while perceived reversals can undermine credibility. Practicing thoughtful communication ensures that opinions don't unintentionally become obstacles, and that opportunities remain open for both the artist and their team long term.